Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's Cone. I've got to talk about this Nuggets Timberwolves game. This was one of the best regular season basketball games I've seen in a minute. 2 overtimes, one of the best individual performances ever, with Jokic dropping a 61-point triple-double. Cannot believe I'm reading that right. Huge heroics from like Anthony Edwards and K. Alexander Walker down the stretch. A lot of guys on the Wolves stepping up. And in the end, just one of the most brutal two-play stretches of any player I've ever seen, of course, coming from my GOAT, Russell Westbrook, Thunder legend, the Thunder GOAT. If you're a Russ fan like me and you haven't seen what happened, you could probably just click off this video and you'll be living at peace. Also, stay off social media for at least like a couple of weeks, maybe until the playoffs roll around. Nightmare into the game for Russ. But let's talk about it. As you've probably noticed by now, the Nuggets and Wolves, kind of a rivalry. Like, if we want to talk about modern NBA rivalries, like Celtics Heat was one recently, but that, of course, is dead now that Jimmy Butler's gone. I thought Thunder Mavericks was going to be one with Luka versus Shea, but now Luka's over there in Los Angeles. Maybe that develops into something over time. But you want to talk about ones that exist at the moment. This is probably the premier one. Nuggets versus Timberwolves. These two teams have played each other extremely close for like years at this point. They had a playoff series the year that the Nuggets went ahead and won it all. Last year they played again and the Timberwolves got revenge, winning, of course, in 7 games, going up against that Nuggets squad. Rudy Gobert hitting a turnaround fadeaway jumper out of literally nowhere to go ahead and close that one out down the stretch. And then throughout this season, first game of the year, really close, a 3-point win for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Then the Timberwolves blew out the Nuggets in back-to-back games by 20 plus. And then tonight, they get another win in double overtime. This is a 4-0 season sweep for the Wolves going up against the Denver Nuggets. And this might be a playoff matchup. Like, there are very real scenarios where it ends up being Denver versus Minnesota in the first round. And that would be peak. Like, if we're talking about first round matchups I'm hoping for, that one is very high up the totem pole. I want to see that one, and also Warriors versus Lakers, which, hey, if the season ended today, we would get that matchup, Steph versus LeBron, which, by the way, shout out to Steph Curry, who also dropped 50 points on 12 threes tonight. That's probably going to get buried because of the insanity of this game. That's how good it was. Yeah, like I said, went to 2 overtimes. Nuggets started off leading by a lot. Wolves stormed back, unsurprising there. They, again, just kind of have the Nuggets number, it feels like. And then it was really back and forth down the stretch. Nikola Jokic, I mean, just completely took over. There was nothing the Minnesota Timberwolves could do whatsoever. Rudy Gobert was trying, but it really didn't matter. He had 16 points in the fourth quarter. Eventually, Rudy Gobert fouled out of this game too. And so then they have really no one to guard him because Naz Reid's not playing. So it's Julius Randle just kind of like bodying up against him and praying he's not going to hit him with baby hook after, little flick, catapult type jumper after catapult jumper. And that is what happened. He finishes again with 61 points. That's a career high. That's the most points ever in a triple double. Just completely unbelievable. There was nothing they could do. I think it was at the end of the first overtime where Anthony Edwards just literally let Jokic like back him down and just score. It was almost like in football when sometimes they'll let the opposing team score so that they can get the ball back quicker because they know it's inevitable. That was kind of what it felt like. It was just like, yeah, you've got me posted up, just score the basketball so we can try and win this game. Which, by the way, the 2 game winner attempts at the end of regulation and for the first overtime for the Wolves, disasters, just completely terrible offense. I don't know how they come out of a couple of timeouts and they draw up like literally nothing. Anthony Edwards gets double teamed both times because of course he's going to. It's Anthony Edwards. They're going to send 2 guys at him in any of these clutch situations, and they do that. First time, swings the ball to Julius Randle, who shoots a sidestep 3 and airballs it completely. Not a great look, but there wasn't a lot of time left. I kind of get that. Then the next time he gets the ball, he gets doubled again, he swings it to Julius Randle, who now has Nikola Jokic on him with 5 fouls. Drive the lane at the very least, maybe foul Nikola Jokic out. I don't know. I mean, it looked like he had plenty of space, but instead he swings it to Jay McDaniels, who is smothered in the corner. He tries to take a pull-up midi, also airballs, and I believe it was Nickeil Alexander-Walker who caught the airball and tried to put it back up and in, and it got blocked. So theoretically, or technically, I guess, rather than theoretically, we saw it happen. 3 attempts to try and win this game in the first overtime in regulation right at the buzzer, and none of the shots, not a single one of the 3 hit the rim. So you want to talk about bad offense, that is that. But a majority of the night, I mean, they were kind of getting most of what they wanted. The Nuggets, the defense, you want to talk about that concern, it's real with this Denver team. Minnesota was kind of just putting them in the blender a lot of times down the stretch. They had some good moments here and there, but yeah, for the most part, Ant was going crazy, especially late in the game. He really struggled to open things up, but once you got into the fourth quarter and OT, both OTs, it felt like Ant couldn't miss. He was making really good plays until right at the end. And this is where we need to talk about Russell Westbrook. Again, if you're a Russ fan, maybe click off this video, but yeah. So what happens at the end is Ant gets the ball and he tries to kick it up to Julius Randle, but instead Julius Randle starts cutting, and so it gets turned over to Russell Westbrook, who goes ahead and attacks the basket on the other end, back and forth between he and Christian Brown. And rather than dribbling the ball out, because they have a lead at this point, keep that in mind, they have the lead, he could dribble it out, wait for Nikola Jokic to run up the court, or get it to somebody else to shoot the free throws if he's not feeling confident. Like, they can run clock and guarantee they put themselves at the line for a chance chance to put the game up to 3 and give the Wolves a much smaller chance at going ahead and winning this basketball game. But he shoots the layup, and like I also get it, you have a wide open layup, except for the fact that he misses, which is really tough. That's really tough. So the Wolves get the ball, but then all you have to do is get a stop, right? You just get a stop and the game's over. That's it. And they get the ball to Nickeil Alexander-Walker in the corner. Ant makes a really good pass. He goes ahead and shoots it, and Russ fouls him. Now, some people are talking about, was the foul before or after the buzzer? Should they have called that? I think it was a foul pretty clearly before the buzzer. I mean, he kind of like bulldozed him. It's a foul. So he fouls Nickeil Alexander-Walker. He goes to the line for 3 free throws with 0.1 seconds left. He hits 1, he hits 2, and then misses the 3rd one on purpose. Shout out to Jokic trying to punch the basketball to get it down the court and go for a game winner attempt, because you can't theoretically grab it and shoot with 0.1 seconds left. But yeah, they lose. They lose for now the 4th time in a row this season to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Not the greatest end of game sequence for my GOAT Russell Westbrook, and of course it's war on the timeline right now. People arguing, Lakers fans being like, "Oh, we told you this about Russ," and I mean, it wasn't all on Russ for losing this game. Like, definitely not. Again, the defense is a major concern for the Nuggets, and not a lot of people are doing much outside of Nikola Jokic in this game. Aaron Gordon did shoot 4 of 8 from 3 and finished with 30. Actually, I'm just now realizing that Aaron Gordon finished with 30 points. That's nuts. It did not feel like that much, but shout out to him. 30 points. He's been shooting well this season, really, really well. They were missing Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr. Like, it's tough to gauge too much about this team, but of course, I mean, when you make a couple blunders like that at the end of the game, it's what's going to be talked about. So yeah, it's tough for Russ. Not really much you can do there. Michael Malone after the game said, we as a team lost this one, not one player. And I agree, that is the case. But when you make 2 massive blunders like that, not dribbling the ball out, of course, and then missing the layup, and actually, I guess a 3rd one by fouling a 3-point shooter, it's a complete nightmare. So the Nuggets lose. And I mean, this is big implications on the standings in the Western Conference, which are hyper close at the moment. This game with the Timberwolves win, the Grizzlies lost today. They're tied right now at the 6-7 spot, and they play each other, I believe, coming up pretty soon. Yeah, Thursday, April 12th, or April 10th, rather. It's Timberwolves versus Grizzlies. That could decide who gets the 6th seed here. The Warriors, also with their win over the Grizzlies, move into the 5 spot. So now, at the moment, it would be Steph Curry versus LeBron James in that series. But yeah, I mean, if the Wolves can beat the Grizzlies here and the Clippers don't do anything too crazy to rocket up the standings, we could very well see this Nuggets Timberwolves first round series. And again, this is one I would absolutely love to see, because I would probably lean Denver, which might sound crazy because again, the Wolves have had their number, but I just trust Nikola Jokic in a series, and they'll have Jamal Murray back and Michael Porter Jr. And I feel like they're just more talented, but there is something about Minnesota that just gets the Denver Nuggets playing some of their worst basketball, completely falling apart, and is just unstoppable against them most times. And again, the Wolves didn't have Naz Reid in this game. Rudy Gobert fouled out at the end. He would have been huge trying to guard Jokic down the stretch and not just conceding buckets. That feels like one that's pretty much guaranteed to go 7 and could be a coin flip at the end. I would lean Denver just because they have Nikola Jokic, but that could be a first round exit for Denver. That is the nightmare. If I'm a Nuggets fan, if I'm the Denver Nuggets, I don't want to see Minnesota whatsoever in the first round. Like, even if you win, it's going to be a grueling, obnoxious series, and maybe then you conquer some demons and you feel better about it going into the next matchup. And I mean, I guess the Nuggets' goal is to win a championship, so if you're afraid of the Minnesota Timberwolves at this point, then you probably don't have a chance to win the championship, or at least not a very high one if you're that deathly afraid of a team down there in the standings. But like, also the Wolves are better than I think a 44-32 team. Like, they've been playing some amazing basketball as of late. Ant is a special type of player. They've really only been clicking kind of later here in the season. So like, I mean, they're only 3 games back of the Nuggets at the 3 spot. So it's not like this major gap between these two teams, and the Nuggets do have legitimate major concerning flaws with that defense that Minnesota is able to exploit, because the big thing for Minnesota is, can they reliably produce this consistent offense, because things get kind of clunky with them. The defense is really good with Minnesota. They have the personnel to try and slow down Denver at least a little bit, but Denver's defense is porous enough to let Minnesota kind of get rolling, get in that groove, and really start to cook them. Ant putting so much pressure on the rim. It is a very concerning matchup, absolutely. And it'd be so awesome for the league, because people keep talking about wanting to see more of these rivalries, these feuds between teams in the same conference that really just don't like each other, that have these amazing battles, and that's what we see. Anytime I turn on a Nuggets versus Timberwolves game, I'm expecting some of the most insane stuff I've seen in my entire life, and that is what we got in this matchup. I really hope they go up against each other, that this continues to build and build, because Jokic isn't going anywhere. He's the best player in the world at the moment, and he's not going to really decline anytime soon, it doesn't feel like. Anthony Edwards, also one of the best players in the world. He's rapidly getting better. He's extremely young. As long as they keep decent talent around him, he's going to be here for the long haul. Like, these two guys could go head to head again and again and again. I really hope this rivalry continues to build, that this is the matchup that we ultimately get. It feels like that's just kind of destiny at this point, that these two teams are destined to face off pretty much every year in the playoffs for the rest of time. And fingers crossed, I want to see that continue to be the case. I want to see more of these rivalries continue to stand out in the NBA. I think it's great for the sport. Again, I was kind of hoping it would be like the Thunder versus the Mavericks, like Shea versus Luka, something that builds out, but obviously that's changed out now. Maybe it happens with the Lakers. In the East, there's really nothing like that at the moment. Like maybe Cavs versus Celtics starts to become a little bit more of a rivalry if they face off in the Eastern Conference Finals and they continue to be the two upper echelon juggernauts that feels like they could be for a while. But I mean, yeah, there's really not a lot of that in the NBA at the moment, and Nuggets versus Timberwolves is definitely a rivalry, 100%, especially if they play in the playoffs again this year. And I want to see it. I'm sure Nuggets fans don't, maybe Timberwolves fans don't, although maybe they're excited about that because a lot less expectations and they seem to just have the ability to beat the Nuggets on pretty much any given night. They've won 6 straight now against them. But let me know what you think about this game, about this matchup. If it were going to the playoffs, who would you pick? Would you pick the Nuggets or the Timberwolves? Let me know what you thought about the end of the game. Russ blunders, because I need somebody else to talk to about this. I'm sitting over here and I was just watching it in like literal shock. It was like 1:30 a.m. I'm completely stunned. I was trying to go to bed, but then it just kept going and it was another overtime and another overtime, and I stayed up to watch my GOAT make 2 massive mistakes. It's the way it goes. It's the way it goes. But I appreciate y'all watching. Leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos. It felt good to do a game recap again. It's been a while. I know After the Buzzer hasn't been a consistent series like it's been in the past here on the channel, and that's honestly just been because I've been very busy with a lot of different stuff, and I've just more so focused in on like singular topics in videos as opposed to doing like the overall game recaps or nightly recaps with all the games. If you want to see more of those, I mean, they're going to be coming back in the playoffs. I'll be doing a lot more of that, so make sure to keep an eye out for those. But yeah, let me know what stuff you want to see down the stretch of the season. If you're a Nuggets or Timberwolves fan, how you feeling about this game? Appreciate you watching. I'll see y'all later. Bring one say back. Also, maybe another video later today about the Thunder. Not sure yet. Might get 2 videos in today. We'll see. Peace. Yeah, I'll see you later. I'll say back.